What happened? They tried to take over the world, a new world order, a one world government, a one world religion, and Zeus brought it down, brought the floods, destroyed Atlantis. Wow. And that's what the whole allegory with the Lord of the Rings is. The Ring Lords.
Okay, I see
King Arthur's Round Table.
I see
All these stories are calling back to an ancient source. It's secular. What was will be again. They came down from the heavens. They presented themselves to mankind in all their superiority. They showered them with gifts. They showered them with technology. And they worshiped them as gods. So it's out of the question for something to come from the sky, be superior to us, give us wisdom, give us knowledge, give us technology, and we worship them as gods again. What is happening and what is up? Hold out your glass, because we're about to fill it up.
Join us as we travel and explore the vast unknown. It's a hero's journey with dragons to slay, damsels to save, and innumerable treasures to hoard. Torches high.
Look at it from a different perspective.
Disclaimer. To the Pharisees and Karens out there.
How dare you!
All guests on this show do not reflect the opinions of the host. The purpose of this show is to have interesting conversations, stretch our minds, and grow.
Not what we want!
If you are looking for an echo chamber, viewer and listener discretion
is advised.
You talk about extreme.
Yeah, well, again, when you talk about what Justin was just saying, like, people are taught that the Egyptians built the pyramids, but Robert Schoch, rest in peace, I believe he passed on, him and several other people believe that the pyramids were adopted by that civilization, that Egyptian civilization. It was actually pre-Diluvian civilization. What do you think about that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think they found it. I mean, and it's a common theme throughout the world. The Native Americans here in America, a lot of them, when they talk about Serpent Mound and some of these other mounds and things, the chiefs of those tribes have said, oh, no, the oral tradition is that our people found this. And you look at all these ancient megalithic sites and cities, and they dig, the deeper they go, they find that a foundation of a temple or something like that is built on another, which is built on another, which is built on another. They find these places, and they're like, here's this megalithic wall or whatever the case may be. This place was important. It's sacred. So whoever built this knew something we didn't. So we're going to settle here. And they mirror the heavens. It's like timestamps. That's one thing I thought was crazy, is because when you look at the complex over there of the pyramids of Giza, I'm with Graham Hancock. He says that is a time step going back to, around 12,000 years ago, because when you do that, it's a mirrored image of the heavens, where the stars and constellations and the precession of the equinoxes take the same path year after year after year. It's like a clock or a calendar, and even your Bible tells you that. It says, in the beginning I put the stars and the heavens and the moon and all that in the firmament for signs, for seasons, for days, months, and years. He tells you it's a timepiece. And then when you look, those three pyramids line up with Orion, and they put it right beside the Nile because it mirrors the Milky Way. You have Leo the lion staring off to the east, and what's he pointing at? The rising sun. And so it's telling you that during the age of Leo, when the sun rose in the constellation of Leo, when those three stars of Orion was lined up right next to the Milky Way, that is when this was built. And you have so many sites throughout the world that's like that, and we do it today. So you have the dam down there.
Mm-hmm.
When you get down to the base of that dam, they have that angel and the world and all that little what do you call it, statue or whatever there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that is. If you do research on that, they built that to where I can't remember the date, but when the sun shines, it creates a shadow in this certain place on the day that they christened the Hoover Dam.
Right.
And it's a timepiece. They made this memorial to mirror the heavens as a timestamp.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that.
And it's just similar to how the Georgia Guidestones, man.
That's what I was about to say, yeah.
Georgia Guidestones. So me, and two buddies that I work at the fire department, we went to the Georgia Guidestones. Literally saw it ourselves. We saw the astronomical points of it and how it literally, I mean, is what it is. And there's a time capsule and everything with no date on it, which is interesting. And so information was just getting out more about the Georgia Guidestones, and a lot of information was getting, disclosed to public ears. And, boom, bang, they got blown up, they're destroyed, and the information's buried, right?
Dude, they hit that thing with a missile, bro. I've watched that video so many times. They hit that thing with like an RPG. Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, they didn't want people knowing any more about that, man.
Yeah.
But all that stuff, though, it all points back to like that 12,000 year time frame, what they put as the young Adrias event, this cataclysm that changed the course of human history. Göbekli Tepe, all the carvings that they found on it. I can't remember what pillar number it was, but pillar 41 or something, I can't remember. But they have all these depictions of a buzzard and all these different animals and a scorpion, and that's what they were saying. They said that this mirrors the heavens, but during that same time frame of 12,000 years.
And the mounds and everything that's going on, they're trying to divert everything, and lie to us and just honestly have us forget about all of our past. So it's like these great resets keep happening and happening and happening.
Fires.
So people,
The
the fires that are happening. It's not like a dew laser beam just, hit California or nothing.
What do you think about the dinosaur bones? Some of these dinosaur bones. I know we talked a while ago about
having live marrow in them.
What's that?
Oh, wow.
Having live marrow in them. It's like when they do find these bones, everybody wants to preserve them. But there was one crazy guy. I think he was from California or something like that, like a university
That makes
guy.
sense.
He had a triceratops horn, and he just cut it in half. And they're like, "Oh, what are you doing? You preserve these things." And lo and behold, there was live, living tissue inside of it, red blood cells, everything. I've had Dr.
So you're
Judd,
possibly saying that could notate, like, hey, this might not be as old as they're saying it is.
No,
I think Kent Hovind was
definitely not.
saying that man actually walked with dinosaurs, and dinosaurs
you find
actually
their
means
footprints
dragons.
together.
Yeah, and
you
they
find
were great
depictions
terrible
of them
lizards.
riding them.
That's exactly. They were
down
riding
in
them.
Peru, you have the Inca stones. They're riding them, dude. And they even depict the scales on the body. Mm-hmm. It's like
Yeah,
it's
and there were some
everywhere.
nasty
Like
ones, and meat eaters, but there were some that was, eat just plants and vegetables and stuff like that too, apparently. But, they were literally like, it's almost like a dog and a man, like they had them as like pets, some of them.
What gets me too is like with that radiocarbon dating is it just bounces all over the place by moving just a few inches. And, with a Christian worldview, when you look at Noah's flood, a lot of people just get hung up and they get that Mandela effect thing again, and they just focus on the rain. Well, when you read that account, yeah, it rains, but it also says the waters from the abyss burst forth. So you have boiling, steaming, hot water that melts your flesh off coming up out of the core of the earth. And I tell people all the time, any chance I get, to check out Dr. Walt Brown and his book, In the Beginning. And he has a theory which he calls hydroplate theory. And he says that once, all the land masses was one supercontinent. He said, and some cataclysmic event happened, whether it was an asteroid, earthquake, something set all this stuff into motion. And it pushed all these continents apart. And he said, with all the plate tectonics and stuff going on, He said it caused earthquakes, it caused volcanoes to erupt. He said, and then the abyss burst forth. He said, if you look, he said, there's this thing called the oceanic ridge that wraps around the globe like a seam on a baseball. And this is the fracture point where all this water come forward and it pushed everything out. And without fail, every single major mountain range in the world lines up perfectly parallel with this oceanic ridge. Because once it met resistance, it's like a car hitting a wall. The hood rolls up, and that's what happened to these mountains. It just pushed these mountains up and formed all these things. And that's why you have all these pelts and craters on the near side of the moon, because the stuff that left our atmosphere just beat the shit out of the moon.
Oh, wow. Wow.
That makes
I'm gonna have to
sense.
get that book.
So
Yeah.
when you're doing the radiocarbon dating stuff, that's why it's all over the place, bro. Because literally the earth was ripped in two, and soil that was all the way down next to the magma was thrown up on top. Everything was disheveled and threw out of place, man. And when they look at this carbon dating stuff, what they do is they look at the carbon and they know now, 0.05, I'm just throwing out some kind of crazy number, but they have this number. They know this value is the decrease rate over like a 5-year span. Well, that's all well and good, but that's now. I might breathe, X amount of times a minute, and my heart rate be 76 beats a minute. But if you slap me in the face, I bet that's going to double. My blood pressure is going to skyrocket. My heartbeat's going to increase. My breath rate's going to increase. So the earth and this carbon, depletion, I think is no different. So when this cataclysmic event happened, it threw everything. It threw Earth into shock.
Absolutely. No, I believe that. It makes everything make more sense. The fact that humans aren't the superior race of Earth, and there's these other more enlightened and at a higher consciousness beings, and it's. I think it's just the gods coming back. I think it's.
No, they never left, man, I think. When you look at Deuteronomy 32, verse 8, everybody gets hung on the tongues being divided. No, it says not only were the tongues divided, it says the peoples, the nations, was divided amongst the sons of God, the B'nai Ha-Elohim. Every time that phrase is used, it's talking about divine beings. And that's what the whole Psalms 82 is talking about. How long will you rule unjustly and show partiality to the wicked? You desire to live the eternal life, but you shall die and fall like any prince. Hello? It's not talking about humans, Daddy. If they're going to die, that's duh. Yeah, of course we're going to die. He's talking to divine heavenly beings, and they're still ruling the nations today. So he had a plan. Christ was coming, and he says, my kingdom is not of this earth. So we have to withdraw our citizenship and our dominion away from being subjugated to these fallen sons of God that's over these nations, and apply for citizenship to his kingdom.
Revelation talks about the 10 kings, right? Well, you've got the beast coming out of the sea with 7 heads and 10 horns, right? And horns in the Bible show resemblance to kings. And so what's most interesting about that is I remember reading out of the Club of Rome, and I think it was like a 12-page document or something, but this was years ago. And they were talking about how to establish 10 empires in the world.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but the 10 kings, that's Atlantis, bro.
Oh my gosh. All right, tell me more.
10, the
Break
5, yeah, in that story, Poseidon has 5 sets of twins. And those 10 are the 10 kings.
Oh, wow.
And what happened? They tried to take over the world. A new world order, a one world government, a one world religion, and Zeus brought it down, brought the floods, destroyed Atlantis.
Wow.
And that's what the whole allegory with the Lord of the Rings is. The Ring Lords.
Okay, I see
King Arthur's Round Table.
I see
All of
it.
these stories are calling back to an ancient source.
Well, what's your take, Justin, on disclosure? What are your thoughts on that? What do you think it's going to look like?
So if we look back, what happened at Mount Hermon?
You had
These
this
entities
union.
came.
Yeah.
They came down from the heavens. They presented themselves to mankind in all their superiority. They showered them with gifts. They showered them with technology. And they worshiped them as gods. So
It's
would
gonna
it be
happen
out of the
again here, too.
question for something to come from the sky, be superior to us, give us wisdom, give us knowledge, give us technology, and we worship them as gods again? Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you enjoyed that second highlight reel of the episode I did with the Biblical Hitmen. Hey, if you want the full episode in its full context, find my Spotify or my Apple or anywhere you can consume podcast content for the full discussion. And if you want the full video content, you need to go over to PrometheusLensPodcast.com and sign up for the All Access Pass. See you guys on the other side.